All right, all right, all right. So we're back. Had a really nice little break there. Got some stuff done. Went to the store. Went to the gym, and that's important too. Like we talk about problem solving in tech and working hard and learning how to use these tools, and it really is important that you take care of yourself too. Like um, stress, anxiety, sleep. Like all of these things are very important, especially if you're going to try to get into a tech career, but really any career too. Because I was also doing production recently, wind turbine production, and just the blades, mind you. So it wasn't even like if you're working with steel, that's a whole nother thing, um, or metal work, or yeah. Or I know I've known people to do like plastic bag production, I guess is it? I don't know. I didn't even go near that because like whenever I'm in between jobs, I'll do like, temp jobs, odd jobs. I mean, hopefully that doesn't, knock on wood. But again, with like coronavirus and like a lot of the inflation and stability, the economy, and I even took all those economics classes and I still feel like I don't know anything about like the markets and everything. And I know a lot, mind you. Like it's not for the lack of trying. It's like, I understand the supply and demand and these curves and diminished returns and margins and all that, but then like I don't really understand. I don't know. Like I had a buddy ask me just because I told him that I was like, I took a few business classes. He's like, oh, could you help me start a business? So I was like, oh, I have no idea. Just like how they don't teach you how to do your taxes in public school, yet we do algebra, and it's like, when am I ever going to use algebra? Well, if you ever use a cash register, guess what? That's algebra. So it's a very basic form of algebra, but I mean, I don't know. I'm trying to hold off like teaching the kiddos all that too. Like we've already looked at Python code, but algebra, whew, I'm just kidding. But taxes, it would be really good to understand taxes, and there is that common misconception that the government is big and evil and it's trying to trick you into paying more in taxes. And there's even comedians that joke about it saying, um, oh, I forget who it was, but someone said like a whole their shtick was, so I'm doing the taxes and the government wants me to tell them how much I think that I owe. And then you're like, well, what if I say something wrong? And then they're like, oh, well, we know. And then you're like, well, why don't you just do it? And they're like, no, because we want to see what you say. So yes, for that, I can see that being a little shady. And for that, there should be, oh, in a perfect world, yes, there should be, although we have tech now. So, I mean, I was also thinking about like the cost of education. So, like it used to be a lot more expensive when we had paper, when we had, I mean, and there's still things that we can trim down on. Like if we could negotiate better prices for a lot of things like software, I mean, because there's, well, a nonprofit tier for just about everything because it is a whole thing. And if it's like bona fide education, nonprofit, like it's for the people, and yet the people still get paid. That's something that, I find it interesting that a lot of people don't really, or I wouldn't say a lot of people, like they might even know it. They might even say it. Well, like, oh yeah, the people get paid, but then they don't really understand. It's like, okay, yeah, but that's the cost of business. Like for those people to get paid, you do still need to pay something. It's not free, but it's at least vastly subsidized and maybe interest free. So that's the other thing, interest. It drives me nuts. Like, and again, we have technology. We don't really have to pay as much overhead to have people doing all these calculations and things and checking by hand. And I mean, yeah, maybe if there's like discrepancies, sure, but I can write computer programs that can verify information in like milliseconds, computer cycles, like fractions of a second. And you can't tell me that we need to have, and so that's the dangerous thing is like now that we're saving money on with technology, and as soon as more places adopt it, because mind you, only the well-established places can afford tech for now. I don't know. Again, it goes back to licensing, really. I mean, the actual hardware isn't super expensive, especially if you do it secondhand or, and then a lot of companies do tax write-offs. But then up until recently, I know a lot of companies would have to specifically um, destroy computers a certain way or recycle or repurpose through companies, and it's like, just all those wasted computers. Anyways. That's the thing. Now we have data erasing tools that are to DoD standards, Department of Defense. So if it's good enough for the American government, like it's good enough for uh, making sure that any of your risky, and that's the other thing too, is don't have anything risky on there. I mean, aside from, now see, the thing that I see is like, okay, you've got two main camps of why you need data eraser. If it's like a need. So aside from the basic, like everybody needs to erase their data to keep it protected, so it doesn't fall into the hands of other people. Like say you have, pictures of your kids or pictures of your family or pictures of your birth certificate or something like that, or like, anything, which you really shouldn't have that stuff on your computer in the first place. But, people do it. It happens, especially like, you're applying for a lot of jobs and then all this, it's required. So, and even that's ridiculous. And I think we're kind of like moving away from that mostly. I say that, but even then, like, okay, so then you get a new job, and then it's like, okay, and especially with the dynamic fluidity of the tech world now, I mean, it's just so up in the air. And I've said it before, the whole concept of FANG is unsustainable. It's an unsustainable business model to pay every software engineer like a six-figure salary. You have to start laying people off, and you have to start trimming the fat elsewhere. Because, I mean, unless your company is like Amazon or Google, it's just not bringing in that much money. Or Netflix too, yeah, sure. But even that, look what they're doing. They're clamping down on, even people that have been customers since the disc days. They're clamping down. Now, granted, I'm not going to stop. I mean, mind you, especially if Netflix, if you're watching, I love your stuff. I'll keep doing it. But please, let's negotiate some stuff because, I mean, I don't know. Like it gets out of hand if it's like an estranged girlfriend, like ex or something. I have heard about that, and I feel bad saying that because it's like, uh, but at the same time, we need to make sure that we can. I don't know. It's all a bunch of balances. It's untangling cords. Yeah, I don't know. And sketchy business too. That's one thing I noticed with Twitter is like, they have a bunch of ads that are scams. They're fake, but they're paying. So and then even like now they have these things called lists that you can be, well, not now, it's been there for a while. And I just had someone add me to a list and I had to look at it closely and it was $500,000 USD Bitcoin gift drop. And then it was a Bitly or a BitX. It was basically a URL shortener. And so that's what I wanted to mention. Oh, sorry, like we got way distracted here. Whoa, I was trying to push the wrong button. Furnace. Let's talk user stories, but first, on our way there, Bitly. So URL shorteners are ways to conceal a malicious link or conceal a legitimate link, and that's the thing. And that's why the tech industry is kind of struggling right now. I mean, not struggling, but like trying to fix these holes as they pop up. It's like a game of whack-a-mole. Computer security is, but basically, um, I've seen. I want to say I've seen Microsoft and I've seen, so Microsoft need to. Oh wait, we need to repair the axe. Use URL shorteners. So if you're requesting it, so that's like the push versus pull dynamic of if you should trust a link. And if it's sent by someone you trust, even then, judge it because they might have got it from somewhere sketchy or there is a Facebook scam where one of your friends, if their Facebook account has been hacked, quote unquote, it just means someone got their password and logged in as them. It's not like and they could have guessed the password too, but now Facebook does, oh, actually, well, yeah, that's right. I get text when I log out. So, anyways, if you have to confirm your login with a text, that's multi-factor authentication. Now, it's been said it's not the best because then people could do replay attacks where they just copy the message and send it, like edit it or whatever, and then or like intercept it. But that's like assuming someone's on your network, which they could be parked on your network. So it's good to reset your router every now and then, turn your computers on and off. As I say that. Well, just check who's logged into your computer at all times. If there's someone else and it's not you, kick them. Like, kick them, take note of the IP, track their stuff. I don't know. That's a lot of the heavy lifting for the average person. But just to be safe. Now, user story. Let's look at this real quick. So I said I wanted 64 furnaces. Now, that's not very sensible. 25 might be good, but then we're going into cow country because that's my cow room. Oh, and I apologize if anyways. I like to talk about India and other places a lot, but yes, I do have a farm, basically. This is, I mean, not pretty normal, I'd say. Like, it's still weird. It's Minecraft. It's like, it's not for, like, those eggs would be super expensive because those are not free-range ducks. Yeah, I see you. Chickens are supposed to be, but they look like ducks because of the city texture pack. Same with my sheep. I did go in and start putting grass down so because they do eat the grass. Uh, uh, You know what? Let's do it. So I don't have to keep explaining myself. I did it for the sheep. I'll do it for the after we fix the axe. But let's talk about furnaces. So it wasn't feasible to have 64 furnaces because it would just been ridiculous, at least for now. So a trade-off would be realize that halfway through the project and be like, oh, I want to pivot into a new direction and just cut it down to even just 20. We're good at 20. No more funds to that. No more time. And you got to remember, everyone's time costs money. So if you're trying to run a business, a startup or whatever, or if you're working for a place, most people do, just know that it costs money to pay you. I mean, yes, okay, Captain Obvious. Of course, we all know we get a paycheck, but do you really understand what that means? And then I've heard things like, well, then the company pays for your unemployment insurance, and then they pay for this much of your taxes and this much. And I already knew that it was something. And mind you, this is even with taking some business classes at a university. I still don't know like the exact split of like what you pay, what the person, and I get so confused with insurance. And again, this is like, I can do encryption algorithms, I can do computer science, cybersecurity, web design, web development. That's actually why I really like the ACT degree, Applied Computing Technologies, because at first it was a slap in the face because there was a GPA requirement, and yeah, and also, well, and then you can't pivot dynamically that. So once you do meet the requirement, then you can't go back. But that's okay because, I mean, I did find that I wanted to end up in the world of IT. I definitely enjoy it a lot better than software development. And it's funny because I even got a software developer job with an ACT degree. But I mean, yeah. So, oh, whoops, that's not about. Yeah, I don't know. Doesn't have to be exact. And that's another thing. You trade off your time. What's it about worth to you? I mean, see, everybody's sleeping. So yeah, like I just said, mental health. It's very important that you take care of your mental health. Always get, I do at least 8 hours as often as possible. I mean, it's not always possible, but, and of course, like, if you got other things going on, if you're going to school and working, then it's hard. Like, because you just, yeah, short on time. But that's not forever. And there are healthy work-life balances that you need to, well, adhere to too. And most every business that I've been at does that. Like they all stress it. They all say, this is important with our company. And at first when I heard it, I was like, oh, that's cool. Like, wow, I'm so glad and lucky I worked here. And then I worked at a couple places like, oh, everybody does it. So, but if they don't, they should be. And you don't have to have like yoga rooms inside like the break room or anything like that. But I mean, it doesn't hurt. Don't get me wrong. I don't do yoga. Ugh, I like to stretch, but I mean, I'm sure, I don't know. I'd have to look into that sometime. I do weightlifting and running. So that's kind of my thing. And I have read an article about even 15 minutes of physical activity boosts blood flow in the brain and it helps you think through things better. I feel a lot better every time I go to the gym, but that's the thing, going to the gym. Like, you know, when I'm able to, I would like to upgrade to having my own weight room. Again, because I grew up with a weight room, and mind you, my family was poor, but we took priority of our health. So we had a weight bench right in the living room. We had a set of weights right in front of the TV. So everyone that came over, there was just like you had to watch TV around the weight bench, basically. Not really. I mean, it wasn't like in the way, but I mean, it wasn't like out of the way either. So anyways, we used it as a table too, like a TV tray. So it was like kind of like white trash. But and mind you, we weren't like in a trailer like that level. Not saying that that's bad because I did live in a trailer for a while. But um, yeah, just I don't know, adjusting with what you have, making do with what you have, and being content too. Because I mean, we exercise, which is good. I was able to do good in sports all 7, 8 years I played football and like basketball, track. I stunk at basketball. I cannot shoot because I'm switch-handed. I throw right-handed. I write left-handed, and like so already I've had perspective of the lefties my whole life. But then people see me throw or bat right-handed. They're like, wait a minute, I thought you were left-handed. I was like, you don't know. Like I didn't say it like that, but I just like looked at him like, oh no, I bat with my right hand. Or I would just be like matter of factly like, oh, because I was used to explaining it. It wasn't new to me. I mean, it wasn't offensive to me. I was just like, oh no, and they didn't mean it to. Anyway, it was just an observation. But depending on your mood and whether you're hungry or whether you've got enough sleep or if you're feeling good with your life, like, and that's the other important thing too. I've mentioned this before, but like the war on drugs, cannabis, all that, that's just the tip of it because Colorado just legalized magic mushrooms too. Now hold up. Yeah, I know. It is intense, but it's not for recreation. So at least I don't think you. I mean, the way it was explained, and I've talked about this before, because it is so important. Like depression is, well, life or death in a lot of situations. I've had family commit suicide. Like I've had friends commit suicide. I just found out a guy that I know left a daughter and died. That was an accidental death, but still, like 3 years ago. And it was like I didn't. So people are dying. Like life is fragile. So I think I'm up to like 12 friends that have died. Anyway, sorry, it's not super relevant, but at the same time, if anybody from say Africa or Ukraine or a war zone is watching, like I've lost family to the wars. Like, I mean, I didn't grow up with any grandpas, so like I know. No, not to say like it's not the same right now, especially Ukraine. God, like I mean, and the weapons of war. Like my grandpa's died at a time when it was still brutal, but now it's like people can bomb you from their bathroom. Like they could be sitting on the toilet and kill you with a drone. It's ridiculous. And I'm talking mostly my my own country, but I mean, granted, problem solving. Now, was that the best way to do it? Probably not. And I didn't vote for Bush, by the way. Hated the guy. Um, Now he's actually okay, which kind of sucks. Like, because I saw him on, which it's hard to laugh at because like all those people died and everything, but at the same time, it wasn't just him. And that's what people in the world need to realize is it's our Congress, our people, our older generation, the voters, like they're directly responsible, even though like it doesn't seem like they're serving the people a lot of times. They are. I mean, they have to sell themselves and it's so expensive. And that's why I say we take money out of campaigning and just make everything a Zoom room or a Zoom call. Like, use technology. We need to use this stuff that we have and stop. I mean, I'm sure Zoom would still get paid, like, quite a bit. In fact, Google would do it and get paid. In fact, I don't even know why they're not doing it anyway. And in my opinion, Google is just, like, the most secure company in the world. I mean, Amazon's up there, like, pretty close. Apple is up there. But then at the same time, they're so secure that they don't play nice with each other. So then it's insecurity through incompatibility issues, which there's still, you can still fix it. It's not a lost cause. But yeah. All right. So actually, yeah, I already forgot what we were going to do. The furnaces, we talked about that. We got the llama diorama. Yeah, let's just go mine a little bit. Because really, that was the main thing I wanted to talk about. Is like, because it's fun playing this game and then pointing out these things that are useful in the tech world, like budget analysis. I mean, keeping it sensible and logical. Because once you understand these things, it makes so much more sense. Like, maybe you didn't get that pay raise, or maybe, it's not that they hate you or they don't want to give it to you or they're money grubbing or whatever. It's that they just can't. And then a lot of these times, now, what I'd really like to do is actually explain it. And see, that's why I have a general distrust for Republicans because it's always, I keep hearing these things like Social Security and Medicare, Social Security and Medicare. It's like, no. And these aren't freeloaders. These are like the older generation. And I did read a thing. They were trying to argue for raising the retirement age. I was like, are you kidding me? We already work real. I feel like it's because they assume people don't work hard, but yet they get paid. Because you only get Social Security back if you paid into it. And if you didn't pay into it, then you don't. In fact, I know that's exactly true with unemployment, too. When that little bit of time that. And see, I even have to minimize that because I got into a couple of arguments with some friends back home. They were like, oh, you took unemployment. You're such a lazy so-and-so and all this. And like, I was like, are you kidding me? I've been working since I was 12. And like, and this kid didn't even work in high. I mean, he did, but like, he worked in his dad's shop. And that was like, kind of expected. So we both worked, but it's like, he didn't have to worry about a paycheck, and he didn't. Granted, he had to worry about his father's approval, so I get that. I get that. I mean, but then it's like, we kind of made up. We kind of poke fun at each other every now and then. I don't know. He's an ass. Sorry, I'll say that. But that's true. And actually, like the last episode or a couple episodes, I said I'd punch a sex offender, and I would. Unfortunately, I mean, actually, I wouldn't now, but I mean, back in the day, whew. If I found out you were womanizing or you were drugging people or kids, God forbid, like, oh, I don't know. And then I see all this stuff about and I don't even want to go there because I feel so bad. I used to tweet on stuff with the Pope, like, comment on his stuff, trying to be respectful, not trying to be like a jerk or anything, but trying to bridge that divide too because, I just feel like Catholicism is so exclusive. Yeah, I don't even know if it's intentionally exclusive. I just feel like that's just kind of the way that they demanded such obedience in the past because it was so much more important back then. Like, and sorry we keep going back to this. I like talking about computer stuff more, but I'm more comfortable working with computer stuff. I understand it more now. I still understand Christianity quite a bit, but Catholicism, like I went to my buddy's Catholic church once, and we had to like get down on your knees. So already you're humbling yourself before God, and it's like that was uncomfortable. And we didn't do that at the Methodist church. We had a lot of old people that couldn't do that, and it was like, and I saw a lot of old people at the Catholic church doing this. I was like, are you kidding me? Oh, and and I know a couple of Catholic people that died a little bit younger than like my family, and not to say that that's the thing that did it. It's hard to pinpoint something like that, but I'm saying that that didn't help. So, although I did notice that, sorry, actually, even that's an assumption on my part, and that's a false assumption because I've been to that Catholic church too. Jeez, ugh, sorry, I don't go to church a lot, but I guess I do. Anyways, they did not. Well, see, now I don't know. I don't think I actually went to like a normal thing. I don't know. It's hard to say. But either way, I feel like a lot of places are making adjustments. The Pope is coming out with new things all the time. That's why I follow him. Like, I try to, although now everything's all mixed up. Elon keeps doing things, or Twitter keeps doing things, whoever it is. It's probably not directly Elon, or maybe it is like user stories. And that was really cool too, to see like how Elon did all the Twitter stuff. Because it was like a trial and error. And anybody that works with tech can tell you, I mean, depending on what capacity they work with it, but I feel like even the sales reps at tech companies, like they got to understand the product. And like more and more places are getting better at training everybody on like just the tech and stuff about it. Although I say that when I was a software developer, I was kind of more like a glorified IT person. Still did some with the software, but I feel like that was more of like as deep as it went, and then like they had a separate division for IT staff that knew how to use it, but didn't know how to like IT for the software developers, and then doing some. Granted, like I wasn't there long, so like I definitely understand that I probably would have done more of like actual editing of the code. I mean, because I did, but like bigger stuff. Oh, anyways, I won't go too much into detail there, but just to let you know that you're probably not going to get your dream job first one, and you might not even know what that is. It might be a complete surprise. Like I really enjoyed building wind turbine blades. It was awesome. Like, it was backbreaking work, and that's why I didn't last. I didn't even make it 2 years before I had to kind of like half resign, half like got laid off. I mean, they were going through layoffs because again, people are expensive, and the economy and all of that, and especially with wind energy too. And I get it. I'm not sour, and they even said that I'm welcome back whenever, and like, and I might one day. Like, I mean, if things ever go south, I'm just kidding. Like, I hope, but at least I have that as a fallback. And see, I didn't have that before. I mean, granted, they're gonna have to drag me out of this current job because it's so much fun. But and all I do is I nerd out all day. I fix things, I tinker with things, I explain things to people. People enjoy it. I try not to talk too much. I try to do like short little tips, and then I talk about their day or whatever. But like, I don't know. My main thing is like I'm excited to see the relief on their face every time. Like it never fails. And I feel bad, like awkward when they like feel like they have to show gratitude. And I've noticed it more with like the older generations, but it's like they do. And don't get me wrong. I mean, like gratitude's fine, but like I just feel like it's misplaced, like that imposter syndrome where. And if you're not familiar with imposter syndrome, I might not be familiar with it either, but uh, what I'm pretty sure it means is like where you don't feel like you're actually worth your job, or or even as a parent, like you're not a good parent. And I've said that too, like I'm not the best parent, but that's why I say that I'm not the best, but I'm not the worst, and I'm not a bad parent. But like there are definitely things that I could have done better in my life to like be more of a stable kind of situation, but it's getting there. And like we all got things. Like I've had a few curveballs thrown at me, so oh. Well, yeah, like understanding college. And because I had brought so much money, like that I had saved up and worked and hard earned, like it wasn't just given to me. And so I felt like entitled to just party a lot. I will admit that. I was a partier the first go around. I was like a Van Wilder, the better part of a decade to get my degree. But I learned a lot. I learned a lot that they don't teach you. And like, nah, just kidding. And it wasn't all crazy like that too. Like mostly it was wasting a bunch of time and money, too much drinking, and that's why I don't drink anymore. It's just like it's just too much. I mean, and that's the thing. Some people don't reach that point. They're able to have like a couple beers and be good. And I say that, but like anybody who goes to college, I mean, I don't care if you're like blackout drunk, but you're gonna be drunk at least one time if you drink alcohol in college. Like I don't care who you are, you're just going to, because at some point you're gonna be at a party and you're gonna try to impress somebody, or you're gonna try to lower your own standards. And that's a tricky game too, is because a lot of times, oh, wait, we're glitching. What's this? And we only have 5 minutes. I don't want to go too deep into that. I'm just kind of explaining a little bit of the subculture of like a college town. Oh, and there's the alarm. Um, wow, I was way off. 5 minutes this time. Anyways, but I'm trying to cut down on the time it takes to do these things. And yeah, there's video editing and all that, but who's got the time? The people that tell you to like and subscribe all the time. I'm just kidding. I hope I don't get to that, but I might. I don't know. That's the other thing, though. Like these projects. Okay, let's shift gears because there was this other thing. So, granted, when I was in India, I was there, and I saw from my own eyes that they are doing much better than I thought. I was so worried because I thought they were like, and see, that's the thing. I didn't see enough, so I'm glad of where I saw. So there's progress and there's like good indications, but I'd like to go back again and have a frame of reference, like at least in like 2 to 3 years, just to kind of see how like Mumbai specifically has gone. But it was nice. Like I liked it. Like it was no different than I've seen places in Denver like that, like and Portland. Like I said, I mean when I came back, there was like a whole tent city, as you're driving around in Portland, Oregon. So. Yeah, and there was like a couple of tent things, and mind you, Mumbai is like the port city, so granted, there's probably going to be fancier a bit because like there's more money coming and going from the port, but at the same time, like yeah, it didn't look bad. I was relieved. I was happy because I've been worried. But now that doesn't mean I saw all of India, and I would like to see other places, and so I'm going to work on that. But like just things that people can do to help, and not me. I mean, I don't have a lot of money, but I know people that do. Mr. Beast or Elon Musk or I mean, I don't know them personally, clearly, but like what I'm saying is like if an idea reaches the right ears and if it's worth the right price, because that's the other thing too, because a lot of these people have this money because they're business people. And same with Mr. Beast. I mean, he did a philanthropy thing, but it was still a lot of like marketing ideas. Like I mean, he studied, he adjusted, and I just watched his the contest for the people of every age. That was really cool. I actually didn't watch the whole thing. Sorry, my attention span, I watched like 5 minutes of it. Like I feel like that's everyone's attention span anymore. Um, or no, what was it? It was on. That's right. We were watching it, and I was kind of coming and going. But I mean, yeah, like the kiddos are learning that. Like, I mean, just kind of like strategy and stuff. It's not a bad thing. I mean, like that's the other thing too. Is like you have like snake oil salesmen, and then you have like kind of what we're evolving into now. And snake oil salesmen, they really had to do that stuff because finite resources. You won't talk finite resources. Talk about the beginning of America. Like people were starving to death, so much to the point where the natives came in to help. Like I want to say, like it probably wasn't instant. Like the natives were probably like who are these people? And like probably leery, probably protective. I mean, because that's the other thing too. Like we were at war with the natives. Basically, it was what it was. I mean, we landed, we were there, we were kind of peaceful for a little while. Then, like, and it was, and that's what like we grew up here in this country watching wild westerns, kind of really drilling home the need for the savagery that we did. Because at the same time, we were here and we just thought this was all unclaimed land, and we just got done being owned by England, and then we're like, we don't need this. We're gonna keep all this nice stuff you gave us, and bye, and we're gonna create our own country. And of course, there's a lot of people that got killed, and just like this China Taiwan thing and Russia Ukraine, like it's history is repeating itself twice. But here's the thing: is like nobody can argue how much we've succeeded now that we've become independent. And I hate to say that because I am really worried about China and us because I don't trust half of us. I mean, and I don't really trust China either. Like, I mean, I trust them not to like do anything rash. Like I know that their actions are going to be well deliberated, decided, debated, but at the end of the day, like, does that any matter? Like the end results speak for the volumes, and death is permanent. And it's like all of this stuff that we're fighting over is materialistic goods and finite resources. So I guess that's like the crux of it. And I'm sorry, I don't mean any offense to China. We do it too. Like we're all doing it because it's human nature. We're all people. So, anyways, I'm gonna try to keep it easy on like talking to the Chinese government officials. Like I don't do it a lot. I mean, I just try to like suggest a couple things, provide a couple articles, and say, hey, for your consideration. And I try to be respectful, but not overly because then it sounds insincere. The way you talk to people, and really, like I feel so bad for this particular lady. Like, people are just mean. And that's the thing is, like, their government's on it. They're going to be, like, tracking them and be like, who is this? What are they doing this for? But, and then China also censors their stuff. Last I heard, they did anyway. I don't know if that's changed. I wouldn't doubt it if it would. But then we go and do stupid things like make those memes about Winnie the Pooh. And it's like, come on, guys. Like, now you're just asking for it. Like, I don't know. I mean, we're trying to be nice to these people. We're trying to be good neighbors. And we're not doing so well. But then like half of us are, and half of us like actually I don't know, because I know some people that go they're oh, used to go to China quite a lot. I don't know if what they do now. I mean, I don't know. This too shall pass. It's just a shame that like so many people have to die for it, and it's like, ugh, I don't know. Still a little sore from Iraq too, and I didn't go, mind you. I didn't serve in the military, but I have a lot of friends and family that did, still do. Um, And yeah, so I worry about them. Anyways, that's getting sappy enough. I'll see y'all later. Have a good one.